Hello, I'm going to make a short video. Try to not keep it too long. But I want to give you an encouraging word in the time of all this turmoil and trouble that we're in. And if you watch the news at all, you know that there are many crises that's going on in our government. Our government has taken over everything in our lives. This video will be put in a database in the government storage house. Will it be totally looked at? Who knows? Maybe because I'm going to mention Obama's name, and then they want to look at me again and again and again, and everybody else out there that happens to mention his name, good or bad. You know, we have a paranoid president. Really, we do. And we have a president in office that has one of the most large amount of scandals going on. I mean, I don't know of any other president has had more scandals during his presidency. I don't know, because I haven't looked it up and studied it, so therefore I really can't say he's the only one, okay? That would mean I'd have to go back all the way back to George Washington to find out if there's been any presidents that's had more scandals than this one. But this one has a lot going on. And I think he is one of the worst presidents we've ever had. My personal opinion. Maybe opinion of a lot of people out there. But our freedoms are being taken away. And if you are classified as a Christian, and then it depends upon how much you're a Christian, whether you will be looked at very strongly by the government or not. If you are into politics of any kind, which I currently am, you know, y'all have heard me make a lot of statements about Obama and stuff. You'll be watched. I am sure Pastor George can tell you that being he that is, you know, in the militia thing, you know, I don't know if he's a member, you know, that kind of card-carrying member, I don't know. Or if he just associated with him, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm sure he could tell you they're being watched no matter what. Because that's what the government does nowadays. We don't have the freedom to have our own opinions, or the freedom of speech, really, to make our own statements about the government or things, because it goes into this huge database, and at any time they can call it back up. Oh, believe me, your name is in that database. If you got a phone, if you got a computer and the internet, if you have email address, they're watching you. You're on that database list. Maybe the only way that you wouldn't be, if you don't have a computer, well, then you wouldn't be watching me, would you? Don't have the YouTube, don't have Facebook, don't have an email address, you don't have a phone of any kind, cell or home. If you don't have any of that, and you write everywhere you write, get in contact, then you might have more privacy than any of the rest of us. Although I will say, I think people writing letters to each other will not last long either without being scrutinized. Maybe they'll even have people that, as they're sorting the mail, and your name pops up, and they don't have no record on you, they could confiscate that letter. You know, here lately I've had some friends really complaining about people mailing them letters and saying, didn't you get our letter? Didn't you know? And they never got it. Where did those letters go to? Are they in a storage base somewhere? I'm just saying. I mean, if there's letters people have been sending you, and all of a sudden you're no longer getting those letters like you used to, you know, writing back and forth, where did those letters go to? Are they really lost in the dead file somewhere, laying around? Or are they being confiscated for whatever reason the government could think of doing? I'm just saying. No proof of that, but you know, just saying. That's a possibility. But people, America's entering a new world. I mean, the whole world is, but I'm talking about America because I live here. And I know that the government is scrutinizing everything that I say, because I've let it known pretty well that what I'm saying about Obama, I think he should be impeached. I really do. I think I don't like Joe Biden either, but I've come to determine, in all of Joe Biden's craziness, maybe he couldn't be any worse or as bad as Obama is. But I truly believe Obama is taking our country down a bad path, which is probably, you know, maybe I should say maybe it's all in the plan, because we are in the end times. Jesus Christ, Yeshua, is coming back to earth again. And why would that event really disturb leaders of countries? Because he's coming back to rule and reign. Every government, every country will be subject to his rule. In fact, Zechariah says that they will all have to come up on the Feast of Tabernacles and tabernacle there and bring gifts to the king, the ruler of this earth, who will be Jesus Christ, whom, if you're found worthy, will be ruling and reigning with him. Well, you know, they've heard this. They've heard this. I mean, I'm not the only one that says this will happen. It's been preached through the ages since Jesus ascended back to heaven. There's always been a group of us with expectation of his soon coming. But the governments of this world is smart enough to look around. In a way, they're smarter than the average Christian, because they look around and they see the signs and they say, something's going on. Something's going on. There's something coming, a change coming. And it scares them because they know they're going to lose their ruling ability, because it will come subject to the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ. Now, they may not call his name Jesus. They may not even call it Yeshua, but they know that something's happened and the possibility that this man will come down and a kingdom from heaven will come down and rule and reign. And they don't want it to happen. Satan don't want it to happen for sure, because while he's reigning, while Yeshua is reigning, he's going to be locked up in a pit for that 1,000 years. And so they're going to get more paranoid, trying to remove all of that obstacle out of the way to keep this event from happening. Why do you think they will turn on everybody that believes in Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach? Why do you think that camps will be built and have been built here in the United States? You've heard about the FINA camps. But that's not about what I'm saying. What I am saying, it's about who we are and what we believe in. And by us being believers, by us trying to walk in his righteousness and do his will, we are bringing a kingdom upon this earth that will rule all nations. And they don't want to give up their authority. So Satan implants in their mind, if they can get rid of us, then it won't happen. I mean, that's their way of thinking. Because, see, we become terrorists in their mind, okay? They don't look at us of trying to bring peace upon this earth. They look upon us as overthrowers of their government. Because, in a way, we are. Because we want Jesus, Yeshua, to come back to rule and reign. Or at least I do. But see, the world don't. They don't want to have to be subject to him. They don't want to have to give homage to him. So the laws were going to get more stricter on us anyway. This video will be in that archive and may be watched. I mean, in the first election, the very first election of Obama, I really spoke out against him. I did in the second one, but in the first one, I got a letter from Washington, D.C. that told me that I'd better shut up because I have a ministry called Agape Outreach Ministry. And they assumed, I guess, I don't know why, no, why would they assume? They have all the records. They can go look that I don't have a 501c3. I mean, because that's always puzzled me when they said that if I didn't stop, they would take my 501c3 rights away from me and I would have to pay all back taxes. And I'm sitting here going, and of course I made a video way back then about that, went public to let them know that I don't have a 501c3. Don't want it. If I get money, if all of a sudden people started sending me money from my ministry to do things with, I would file an income tax report on it and pay taxes on it. And you'll say, well, why would you do that? Well, one, I would rather do that so I can speak freely, Because, see, that still makes me a citizen, not so much of a minister or ministry. It makes me a citizen of the United States with the freedom of speech without any complications if I, as a minister, speak against our government. They have no control as far as the 501c3 goes. You can't pull something I don't have. I don't get no money because I don't ask for money. I ask for a short time for you to send money to Tina because she has no income and still don't. If someone feels still led to send money for her, I mean, because her rent is $250 a month, and all she gets from the state for a while until the divorce is over and maybe get some child support, or she's trying for Social Security disability. I pray that she gets that, but because of her heart. But the state only gives her like $204. She gives $150 to her landlord, which still leaves $100 to pay. She was just going to give it to her, and I said, no, Tina, just give her what you can. You got to have a little money left over to buy dish soap, laundry, one of the kids some shoes if they need it. And I tried to, I help her as much as I can. But you all know where to send it to. Tina, P.O. Box 456, Pea Ridge, Arkansas 72751. If the Lord leads you. None of that money comes to me. I don't solicit, nor do I want any of your money. God supplies my needs. But if all of a sudden I had somebody out there that says, oh, wow, I'm going to send you X amount of money, Barbara. Let's say $1,000. Well, no more than that, because let's say somebody says, Barbara, I'm going to send you $10,000 for your ministry. Well, one, it would not be tax exempt because I don't have a 501c3. And another, if you did that and you did it continuously, or other people did, I would file an income tax report and I would pay taxes on that money so that I can speak freely without the government saying, oh, you can't get into government affairs. You're a religion. You can't go out there and speak. Well, being I don't have a 501c3 and get any breaks or any graces from the government, so that does not apply to me. But I got that letter way back when. I probably got it in a file. I file a lot of things away to keep, in case I ever have to need to search and find them again and bring it out. But believe me, everything we do is scrutinized. Many of us is on a list already. You may not know this, but it's still true nevertheless. And I'm not hyperventilating because I already know, I have been told my name is on the list. And I'm being watched. There you go. Am I going to shut up and crawl in a hole and hide my head under a rock? No. I'm going to still speak the words of God. And I'm telling you that Yeshua HaMashiach is coming back to earth soon to rule and reign. And every government on this earth is going to be submissive to him. I can't say. But during that time, our government will tell us we can't talk about Jesus. See, they're not so hard on God. You know, there's many gods out there. Really, there are. Little gods. And one major God, that's God the Father. But they don't get hyperventilated over the God thing. What they get hyperventilated over is the Jesus thing, Yeshua thing. The reason why he is coming back to earth to rule and reign. And they get all hyperventilated over it because they know that then their government will be subject to him. They know this. They've heard it all their life. Even if they don't believe in him, even if they happen not believe in a God, they hear this and they go, wow, what if there's what if that could happen? Then our governments are going to be subject to this person that we don't know nothing about. That will become, in their mind, a dictator telling us how to run our country, how to live, how to walk, how to, and that we will have to go pay him. That's why things are happening. That's why our freedoms are being taken away from us more and more. Yes, it was because the beginning began a long time before 111. But it began to multiply and increase, and laws that had been made and set aside and dormant have become activated and alive and now apply to our lives. They're taking the freedom of speech away. I mean, if you're a reporter, it's going to get to a point that you're going to have to be very careful about what you report, and the source that gave you this, even if that source is 100% right and you got correct information, they're going to try to censor you and say, you got to keep your mouth shut. And you got to tell us who your source is so we can go after him or her or whoever. And if you try to protect your source, as so far the rights of there are certain people that have privileges here in America. If you're a reporter, they cannot make you tell who is your source of information. If you're a minister and somebody comes and confesses something to you, you have the privilege under that piece of paper that has ordained you as a minister, that you don't have to tell, just sort of like a priest, you know. You don't have to go to the police and report that person and turn them in. In fact, it's privilege information, sort of like a doctor. A doctor cannot tell everybody about what's wrong with you. Even if you're a direct family member, like a husband or a wife or a father and mother, can't come in and say, hey, what's going on with this person? And it becomes privileged, and that doctor can't tell you until he's released by this other person be able to tell you and talk to you, okay? Really. And that's the way ministers fall into. But you see, they're going to try to take that right away from all of us. Doctors, lawyers, ministers, reporters, because they want to have control over the information flow between people. And if they feel like that information is against their country or United States, then they can go after you. Well, there's already laws about us, the so-called Christians that worship Jesus. I stumbled across it and got in trouble for that. I hacked into the government site one time, years ago, back in the 1990 something. And it was a document that's passed as a bill laying dormant in the records of the law right now. I think it's soonly coming out. But telling how the law, even our police officers on the street, are to deal with us as terrorists. That's before the word terrorist come blurting out of everybody's mouth and all the time talking about. Because we are promoting another entity, another country to come in and take over America. That law has been passed for years now. At any point, they can bring it forth and invoke it. And everybody that believes in Jesus Christ, you may call him Yeshua, but everybody that believes in this entity that's going to come down, rule and reign on this earth, will be subject to prosecution because we are promoting a takeover of this country. It's a law. I seen it with my own eyes. I read it. And just when I was about to try to print it, this warning coming saying, you are in a restricted government area. You're in violation of federal law. And if you do not cease and desist and vacate this site immediately, a virus will be downloaded on your computer to destroy the hard drive. And there is a possibility that government enforcement officers could be at your door. Well, needless to say, that kind of freaked me out and I got off of there. I mean, instead of printing it, I got off the site. But they're taking over our lives. They're taking away our freedoms so that they can rule us. And as I get off, because I don't want to make this a lengthy video, you are being watched. I mean, cameras are everywhere. Your cell phones are being tapped. Your home phones are being tapped. Your internet access is being tapped, whether it's email, YouTube, Facebook, or any of the other multiple things here on the internet. You are being observed, watched, and scrutinized. You have no freedom. All I can say, I'm not shutting my mouth up, I'm not walking away, and I'm not stepping back. Jesus Christ, Yeshua, is coming back to earth. And he is coming back with the Lamb's wrath, and he will judge. He will set the sheep apart from the goats. There's going to be a judgment as his kingdom is being set up. He's going to sort us all out. He's going to take over every country in the whole world. America, Canada, Mexico, all the southern countries, South America, Africa, all the European countries, all of them, will be subject and submissive to him, whether you like it or not. And it's going to be a glorious time when he comes. And right now, as the body of Christ, we need to grow stronger and more loyal to him, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, than any group for centuries has to do. We are in great peril times, people. We have to have our hearts cleansed and spotless before him. We have to watch the words that's coming out of our mouth and make sure that they're clean and give glory to him. We need to watch the intent of our heart and keep all hate and disorder and sinful, lustful things out of our life. We have to begin to walk and serve him, because you know what? We are his servants here on earth, as he came to serve. So we are here to serve at his command. We serve a mighty king. We are part of a kingdom beyond our imagination. We are not of this world, and the world don't like us, because we are bringing a kingdom down upon this earth that will cleanse it, that will purify it. It will be an awesome time, people. But needless to say, until that point happens, the governments of the world are going to try to stomp us out. So are you willing to stand? Are you willing to do the will of Yeshua HaMashiach and the Father Yahweh? Are you willing? Are you willing to stand? Because in Ephesians, and of course it's talking about putting on the whole armor of God. Okay? Let me read it to you. Ephesians 6. I'll begin with verse 10. And then I will end this. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord. And this is more important today than any other time for a long time, besides the dark ages. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. That's not only the daily things that we have to go through, but I'm telling you the government things that we will be going through. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, and against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Satan is pressing the governments of the world to get rid of us. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand the evil in the evil day. That is now upon us, that evil day. That will make us have to stand. And having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girded about you with truth, and having the breastplate of righteousness, and having your feet shod with preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, take the shield of faith, wherein ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of Spirit, which is in God. We must learn to stand, because our time of standing is now upon us. the evil that is going on in Washington, D.C., and the government and President Obama is doing to our country, and switching the laws around, taking our freedom of speech, the freedom of bearing arms. They're taking it all away from us, putting us into a control situation to finally be able to try to exterminate us, just like Hitler did. Well, it's going to happen again. It's coming soon. They're going to try to not only exterminate the Jewish people, but they're going to try to exterminate us who believe in Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. In their way of thinking, if they could exterminate us and wipe us off the face of the earth, then that one event would not happen, because they could have made God a liar, that a raiment will last, and that Jesus will come to that raiment. So people, be in prayer. Be in prayer. And put on that full armor. Talk, walk, and do what Yeshua HaMashiach has commanded us to do. For we're not of this world. We are of Him, bought and paid for by a price. He bought and paid for us. He paid the price on the cross. And when we come unto Him and accept that precious gift, we are sealing a covenant between us and God with Yeshua's blood. So, as you listen to all the crud that's going on with our governments of this world, we must yield to our Master, our Lord, our Savior, our Messiah. For He's coming. He is coming. Satan's a liar, and he is coming. Father, bless this video. Give the people the heart of rejoicing, knowing, even in the time of trouble, that you, Yeshua, is coming. And it will be a glorious time. In the time of great trouble and mess upon this earth. But He will come. He will bring peace to us. And we will rejoice in Him and rest in Him. I do know this, Father. I have no doubt. I ask people to understand and come to Him, putting off all the old man and letting the new man of Yeshua come in, Jesus Christ, come into our hearts, Father. Let us realize that. Let us stand together as one body in Him, standing against all odds and standing for the true King, the true ruler of all the world. Put out your Holy Spirit through this video and give people that are in distress comfort, knowing that you stand with us. Bless this video in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. So people, be blessed in the name of Yeshua.